Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 205 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news, as well as what we watched or played during the week. My name is Barry, along with my fellow Xeon residents.
Okay.
I like it.
Oh, you know
My
what?
name's
They're called
Craig,
Sentinels. They're called
Yeah.
Sentinels.
I don't know how to follow that. My name's Craig. That's it.
My name is also Craig. Steller Craig, if you will.
Ooh, look at him buying in. Look at the buy-in, Barry.
Yeah, he's
I don't know about
into,
that.
He's as into Stellar Blade as we are into the news this
Ooh.
week.
Interpret that how you will.
Look at that.
Yep, we'll see how that goes. I'll see if I eat my words there. So this week, I said in our group chat that it's Barry week. Barry ate this week with news. So let me get into what we got here.
Let him cook.
First off,
Let him cook.
Metaphor gets a firm release date of October 11th, 2024. We get gameplay.
Go.
And on top of that, we learned that the game has multiple inspirations and other artists from other franchises working on it. We have we have the artist from Nier. We have the artist from Neon Genesis Evangelion, with a lot more to be announced as well. So I'm just interested to see what this mashup of all of these artists create and how it fits into the world. But this game is the more we see it, the more it's built for Barry.
No Hideo, no buy.
Built for
Okay.
Barry.
That's a strong stance. That's a strong stance.
Yep.
Barry, if I could go on a little rant here.
A rant?
Based on that news. It's not a rant. I don't know why I call it that. I try to live up to Craig's rants. I saw that footage, and like, you know how I've been getting worried recently with fantasy RPGs or specific JRPGs that decide to transition into a kingdom type of setting. So like, let's think about it. Final Fantasy, when they kind of had their American jump, we had like, I'm just speaking on that. We have like a 7, we have an 8, 9, they brought the kingdom back and it worked. Then they went to 10, and then they did 11 and 12, and the kingdom thing didn't work. 11 initially didn't work. They did a lot to fix it. Now it's amazing. But they did 12, and Craig, is that your favorite Final Fantasy? Final Fantasy 12?
Oh my god, I just could not stop playing that game.
Exactly. So then they transition away. We get Lightning in 13 in that wonderful game. I'm saying that for Barry only. I not my favorite.
13-2 is what is my stuff.
Okay.
Yes. You do 14. 15 transitions. It has a kingdom-esque thing, but it's an open world that's really not anything about a kingdom. And then they go to 16. We go back to what looked like, what were they calling it? Like a Game of Thrones Final Fantasy. And it did. So like, I don't know where I'm going with this. Essentially what I'm saying is that Personas and like the latest Atlas creations have been school teenager based things. And one thing that I was worried when I saw, especially because of how long they worked on this project, is all right, we're transitioning to a kingdom type thing. I'm not using Persona 5 Tactica as an example because they did a complete change in the entire gameplay and mechanics. What I saw, Barry, in that gameplay, and I know this is Barry week, so I am not taking from Barry week. I pre-ordered the collector's edition right after I watched the gameplay video.
That's what you do.
I searched the retailers.
You pre-order the collector's edition. I actually haven't been able to pre-order the collector's edition, so I'll be one of the few that have issues getting it, but I'll try.
Well, it is available PS5 version on Walmart's website, and Amazon is right now sold out of the PS5 version, but the Xbox Series X version is available. There's the partial research for you if you do want to order that while we're on stream.
My attention's here first. So
I love it. The dedication. Sorry, continue eating. Let's let him cook.
We had the Fallout series, and this isn't really me eating, but the Fallout games got massive popularity over the weekend. We had a Fallout 4 update that did a whole bunch of 4K graphics and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the games, all of them, saw very much a big surge this week in playtime from Steam, from PlayStation, Xbox, with the success of the Fallout TV show. Uh, I can't. I cannot say I haven't thought about trying to jump into 76 again,
Fair.
but I don't want to because like the time Craig and I had in that game was not good.
Not good at all.
But
we don't
are
have
you
time
guys?
to. We don't have time to play those games.
That's your least favorite. That's your least favorite, right, guys? Both of
Oh,
yours.
by
So
far.
yeah, by far it's our least favorite, but also like we had reached a point where we couldn't do anything anymore.
Yep.
We had a monster that would travel into buildings, into caves, and follow us and kill us. Like it was so above our level, we were kind of soft locked, I guess, in a way.
Yep.
Always running away from a monster. We then go back to Barry eating mode, where the Switch 2, a lot of details came out this week. It was funny because we had a couple things where people were allowed to feel the console but not see it. And that kind of led to a whole, how does that work?
Yes.
And it's because people were able to feel the console in a box. It's like, what's in the box? They could have put in a lizard.
The Halloween party.
It could have been a lizard in there, and they would have called it the Switch 2. But what we did get was a slightly larger screen, but not as big or as heavy as the Steam Deck. We have magnetic rails for the Joy-Cons now, which should be interesting considering that they were on the rails, and I always thought they worked pretty well. Magnetic wise, like how strong is it? What kind of buttons are you using to deactivate the magnets? That kind of thing is what I sort of wonder about.
So Barry, would you say that Nintendo's going off the rails with this new Switch?
Why
do we do this? And lastly, they did mention that the Switch Pro controller is compatible with this. So if you have the Pro controller for the original Switch, it's supposed to work with this as well. There is no word whether or not the Joy-Cons will work. Maybe as separate controllers, but I imagine you can't just put on a magnetic system. Maybe you could, but that's for another day when we actually get the release trailer or something like that in June.
Yes.
We then have BlizzCon 2024 being canceled, but they did say they are going to hold smaller events. This probably has to do with a lot of the layoffs that have been going around in that Microsoft industry where Blizzard now resides in. And on top of that too, Diablo 4 only got mixed ratings as well. Overwatch 2 did not release to the greatest of fanfare. They still have, of course, World of Warcraft, but that's not a game really any of us play. So it kind of makes sense. It is to be expected in the end. A lot of these video game conference things are sort of going by the wayside now that E3 has been canceled, and you could just hold a digital event during Jeff Keighley's Summer of Gaming and be fine. I don't know. I miss E3, but we've talked about that already.
Yep.
And lastly, developer of Gary's Mod has announced that he's going to be removing any Nintendo-related material off of his game. The main reason he's already came out and said that was because Nintendo has been really striking down and copyrighting people for their music, for their characters, and he does not want his game to be one of those things that he misses out on revenue for because people are making Mario. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something PG rated that people do with Gary's Mod, but make him do unsolicited non-Nintendo things is what I is what I'll bring that down to. But that's all. That's what I got for news this week. What about you guys?
You were cooking, huh?
Oh, I cooked.
You were cooking.
I got a few that some you had mentioned, so I strike those off. I have a few, and then I'll loop back around for another question for you guys. But we have a release date and console coming very soon for Silent Hill 2 remake. If any of us still care, I guess I still care. I don't know. That last trailer did not make me feel too good about it, but I think I'll still check it out. You think? I'm assuming this year.
I think so too.
Yeah.
the fall.
Yeah, I think so.
Halloween time would be my guess. Another one I had that was interesting to me is over in Japan, the PS5 and the Xbox are unpopular, extremely unpopular right now. Everybody apparently plays PC over there, and nobody's buying consoles. I would have thought the PlayStation would have still been somewhat popular because it's always popular over there, but apparently not. Apparently, they all just build PCs and buy their own PCs. Very interesting, I thought.
Yeah, that is. And like I wonder where the culture comes from in America that makes a lot of us still console first, or at least console purchasing first. Like I wonder like what is it? You
I think
know,
it's just easier,
like
right? Because
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about like, is my graphics card good enough? Do I have enough memory? It's just like, oh, I have an Xbox, put the disc in, right?
yeah.
That was always
and
my
even
thing,
and even getting the discs part is getting increasingly rare now.
right? So
Well, like but then my question is what's the difference between that, cuz you're essentially buying it because it's pre-built and you don't have to worry about it. So oh, that's still a good point because you have to worry about like how much RAM,
yeah,
how much.
I,
Sorry. Yeah, like consoles are like the
yeah,
pre-built. Like it only comes
Mhm.
in one.
I think a lot of it has to
Yeah.
do with the age of adults or teenagers being raised without computers is now getting narrower and narrower, where there are a ton of kids these days in elementary school, middle school, high school that don't really have consoles. Maybe they have a Switch, but their parents built them a gaming PC, and that's what they game on. So I think even in America, you'll start to see, in Japan, of course, is kind of the forefront when it comes to the gaming portion of things, where I think that trend will follow suit with the United States as well, where
Yeah.
we're having a lot of people just, build their own gaming PCs now because it's good for gaming and it's good for work.
Yeah, you can do everything on it, which is smart. Um, Last one I have before my question later. We got to talk about the controversy around Stellar Blade, I think. And what I'm putting this for those not watching, those listening, I'm putting in quotation marks, censorship, right?
Mm.
Strong quotation
Mhm.
marks here. If you didn't see it, there's a certain segment of the gaming community upset over patches on certain costumes not being as revealing as they were when the game was first announced. Um, and they're upset saying that their games are being censored. To which I would respond, grow up. For real, just grow up. It's not that big of a deal. They changed it. I did see like the side by sides, and I'm like, yeah, you probably should have changed that in all honesty. So, and I mean, I'm not playing this game for the costumes. Let's be honest. We're all
Yeah.
playing it. I'm playing it because the
Yeah.
gameplay interests me, but I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I'm in the same
Yeah.
boat as you. Like let's kind of grow up and put on our adult trousers here in these scenarios,
I
you know?
Yeah, I mean, side note though, this game was marketed that way, right?
Was it?
Yes.
Was
Do you remember when this came out and I
Yeah,
brought up the creator said that he had his own
I
physics
do.
for
Yep.
the ass physics, right? It was marketed this way. Let's not pretend like it wasn't.
I I guess from my standpoint is I did watch like a side by side of the one cutscene that seemed to be a little bit censored. I
Mhm.
don't know why they toned down the blood portion of
Yeah.
things. Like that doesn't make much of a
Mhm.
sense for me. But for the most part, I'm with you guys. Like people need to grow up.
Yeah.
People are getting refunds on the game
Yeah.
if you say false advertising is what people are getting their money refunded for Stellar Blade. But the only person that
Yeah.
wins there is Sony. Like this is a game made by, albeit a small first party
Yeah.
Korean developer that's been making mobile games. Like you
Mhm.
Yeah.
doing that return isn't sticking it to Shift Up. Like that's not.
No.
It's got nothing to do with them. It's Sony. So and Sony will see that money back, and then the whole hard R
Yeah. Yep.
controversy as well with the update. Like
Mm.
I was listening to a lot of reviews that mentioned like the hard graffiti is everywhere. It just happens to be in the unfortunate spot where it's next to the R shop
Yep.
or request shop in the
Mm-hmm.
game. So, drama be it for what it is there. I don't much get it. Like that word, and from what I understand, that's not a word in Korea. Like the what hard R references is not something. It's not a word in Korean language. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
they didn't do this on purpose to be haha funny or haha look at us, we're trying to be controversial. It's the last thing any game wants right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially from that developer.
Right. Right.
Like they want good press.
Yeah, and I think like I mean we're gonna get into it because we all played it, but like it does kind of feel like an old style of game that Craig, you and I grew up on, where an action oriented game with a female protagonist who's it back in the day was always dressed a certain way. The camera angle was always a certain way because gaming was for the guys, right? It's like one of those to me
Mm.
playing it's like oh, it's one of those throwback type of games. Not that that's a good thing, but they did lean into that a little bit with how they've marketed this game. Um, I mean, even her coming out of the pod at the beginning is something. But I mean, other games have done it. Bayonetta, as I think, is one that comes to mind immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the whole controversy thing is a little ridiculous. We can let that go.
It is. Yeah, yeah, especially with the less
Right.
revealing outfits. That's not the hill to
No,
die on. Come
no,
on.
it's not.
There, there's other hills
Yeah.
out there.
And we'll talk about it too, but like the sexuality portion of this game is hee hee haha for maybe the first 5-10 minutes you play the game,
Mhm.
but everything else that you're not playing the game for the sexual, innuendos or something like that. You're playing it for the fun combat.
Mm,
Like you're
yeah.
like, holy hell, that thing is juicy, and
Yeah.
you forget about it 2 minutes later and continue,
Right.
trying to beat the boss you're trying to beat or something like that. Like it's such a minor thing that I feel like people are just drumming up for the fact of creating some sort of narrative that fits them. And
Yeah, I've been Xing through all of the parts that aren't combat. I've been pulling a Craig with
That's
a
fair.
lot of the
That's fair.
dialogue and all those
I mean,
points. But anyway, we'll be talking about
and
in a
that.
to be
minute.
on, yep. Uh-oh. Important.
Es muy importante.
Whoa.
Action. Sorry
Okay.
about that, guys.
You're good. I mean, to be fair, like playing this game also, like I went out and bought this and I wasn't planning on buying it, but I did. And when I was playing it Friday afternoon, my wife was uh watched for like 10 minutes and she was like, this is the game you spent money on. So to be fair, it's not the greatest game to play around children, right?
Mm-mm.
But anyway, that was all I had besides my question. So I'll shoot it over to you, Craig.
Well, like you, Craig, we touched on a lot of the things that I had as well. The only other thing that I had was, did you guys see about these murmurs or rumors of a Game of Thrones MMORPG?
No.
I had not. No.
Yeah, it's nothing concrete yet, but apparently there's a Game of Thrones MMORPG currently in development, by a company called Nexon, which recently published the finals.
Okay.
Um, it's to be taken with a grain of salt. That's something that I think we should just kind of keep in the back of our mind. But I stumbled across that while I was just doing what everybody else is doing and looking on the internet. I thought that would be interesting. I know we've had Telltale Game of Thrones, but we haven't really had. Did we have any other video game adaptations that I'm just missing? There was a Telltale
There
Yes,
was
series,
a
there
right?
was.
Telltale. I feel like there was another game somewhere. Not a Telltale game at one
Well,
point.
there's multiple mobile games
Yeah.
that are inspired by Game of
Okay.
Thrones. But I don't believe there's any other game with the Game of Thrones licensing.
There was. That's the one I was thinking of. It was made by Atlas. and like the 360 PS3 era. That's where I remember it from.
Oh, okay.
I never played it. I have no idea what it is. But yes, doesn't look like it's a. I'm trying to find even like anything about it. It kind of looks like a action role play. Yep.
So they say they made one based on the books pre-show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow. Okay, that got lost in the archives of my brain. All right, maybe I didn't know about that at all.
We'll have to look it up. There also seems to be a
Interesting.
Game of Thrones, the role-playing game that came out in 2012 as well. So there's some older ones out there.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's all I had. Also, I guess maybe stay tuned for any Fortnite lovers out there. Billie Eilish is the headliner for the whole season. She's having quite a year, where she essentially did an EGOT this year, almost. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, with the song, what was I made for? So, also something to keep in mind for all the Fortnite heads out there.
The Fort heads.
The Fort
will
heads.
always be called that from now on. Okay, so question of the week for you guys. We had a leak of every first-party Sony game as far as how much money it made. So I thought it'd be interesting. There's 34 games on this list to see if you guys could give me the top 5 grossing first-party Sony games. Going all the way, the earliest one I see is 2014.
Okay.
So if you give me the top 5, I think that's doable, honestly. Yeah. What do you think?
Barry, go ahead.
I guess I'll start with God of War.
God of Thrones.
Let's go with 2 or 3. No, 3.
Like, God of War 2? No.
Okay.
Wait,
so think like this looks like it's like PS4 and 5 games, right?
Oh, okay.
I'm saying OG Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man before
That's
Miles
number
Morales.
315 million is how much money it made. That is number 1.
So then God of War Ragnarok.
Number 2. Yep.
Okay.
So you got the top 2.
Then are we looking at God of War Reboot?
That is number 5.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Let's go. All right. So we just need 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Miles Morales.
That's number 4.
But that's
fourth highest grossing game for them.
All right.
Isn't that Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
That's number 3. Okay.
Spider-Man 2 is not.
That would be hilarious.
Is it Horizon Zero Dawn?
Horizon is number 7.
Okay.
Then what about Forbidden West?
Number 8.
Nah. Mm-hmm. Number 8. All right.
Yeah, as I say, I know Zero Dawn sold more, so that's why I was.
Yep.
Let's see here. What are the other exclusives? Oh, Uncharted, Thieves End.
No, that's number 13.
Oh.
But that's still a good guess, Barry. Good guess. That's a very good guess. I'm actually surprised it's that low, or I guess high, low, whatever. Not as grossing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm drawing blanks now.
I mean, the one you guys are missing is like massive.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Oh, is it Final Fantasy VII?
No.
Okay.
It's actually not on here at all.
Oh, wow.
Go figure.
So it's huge. It's probably not any of the Final Fantasies.
Was Witcher 3 a PlayStation exclusive when it originally came?
No.
Okay.
See, it was funny when he mentioned it before he mentioned PS4, PS5. I was gonna say like SingStar because I know
SingStar sold a lot.
Yeah, because I know that was a Sony exclusive for a long time. It was a Sony published game, so that would have been funny.
It's like it's right in front of our face, Barry. What is it? It's huge. It's a PlayStation.
It's Last of Us.
Part 2. I was gonna
Yeah.
say it's literally right behind you, Barry.
Yeah. No, it took me a minute because I
Yep.
started
man.
going through what I had, and I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah. So interesting enough, right? Spider-Man, God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us Part 2, Miles Morales, God of War. There's your top 5. And then you got Ghost of Tsushima, which beat out Horizon and Horizon Forbidden West. And then it's Gran Turismo 7. Go figure. Last of Us on PS4. And then it gets weird. Like Gran Turismo Sport,
Yeah.
Days Gone, then Uncharted 4. So Days Gone sold more than Uncharted 4.
Damn.
That's
I will
that's
die. I
wild.
will die on the days. I will die on the Days Gone hill. I know it is not an amazing
Um,
game, but I loved every second of that.
Bloodborne is up there. Whole bunch of MLBs.
Oh,
Funny enough,
surprised I didn't say Demon Souls.
24.
Is that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's way down there. It made 51 million, which is
Okay.
crazy. Even crazier to me is Returnal is all the way down at 31.
Man, Returnal deserved better.
32 million.
Yeah.
Yep.
But maybe that's because that game didn't make as much because it was cheaper as well.
I think
That
here's
was
my
not a full
guess.
price game.
Oh yeah, it was
Here's-
40. It was 40.
Here's
Yeah,
my
go
guess
ahead.
on that one because I saw that too and I was like, man, that should be higher. I'm chalking it up to that came out when the PS5 came out and nobody could get a PS5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So you couldn't buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess
And then
by the time you did get a PS5, if you're getting anything, it's Miles Morales and
Yep.
not Returnal.
And now it's on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
So I think that's why. I just think they not shot them.
Same thing with Demon
Is the
Souls.
same way. Yep. Because if you had a PS5, you had those games. Demon Souls and Returnal.
You did.
You were playing those games. Returnal was the first game I played on my PS5. But
Returnal was like the first sense I was like haptic like of like the trigger things are like an
Mhm.
actual thing.
mhm.
I was
Yeah.
Great game. Definitely
great
underappreciated.
game.
I would love
Yes.
another one.
as would I.
Mhm.
I think there. I
Yeah.
think Housemarque is now owned by Sony, if I remember correctly, too.
Yeah. Bring on another one.
All right, you ready to talk about games this week?
Let's do it.
Games this week, then. Goes without saying, we've all played Stellar Blade.
Yep.
The other game I've been putting a lot of time to this week is the Hades 2 technical demo.
Okay.
Okay.
Stellar Blade. Finally got into Helldivers 2. And then I got to talk about another Crab's Treasure.
Oh, please. I would love to hear that. I also Stellar Blade and Eiyuden Chronicle 100
Oh,
Heroes.
okay.
But wait,
Gave that a whirl as well.
isn't there a game you beat this week?
Oh my god. That's how much Stellar Blade has taken over
How
like
dare
the
you.
last couple of days. Yes, I also beat Final Fantasy
Woo!
VII
Finally.
Rebirth. It's finally fantasy.
Now there's only one other person that needs to beat it, and
Yeah,
then we
get
can
on
do a
that.
spoiler cast.
Oh my god. Thank you, Craig. How did I That's the Stellar Blade effect.
So
Sorry.
before we
Go ahead,
talk
Barrett.
about Stellar Blade, we'll go into the other games we played
Yeah.
this week, and then we'll have a discussion on Stellar Blade because that's what everyone's here for. Because mine's it's not really a full game, it's a technical demo. The Hades 2 technical demo is a very small portion. It's the first floor or area of the game, and then it automatically kills you off and stops you from going any further. But that's how kind of roguelikes work. They can kind of do it in this sort of narrative way that makes sense. I was really surprised with how much there is in common with Hades 1. I kind of thought they were going to do a little bit more different, but the voice acting superb, the animations are great. Melanoe is a fantastic character. It looks like it takes place in the future of Hades 1, which is nice as well. And they've now added a magic bar, so now she can do magic. She can cast spells and things like that along with her regular melee attacks. The magic gives it enough of a flair where it is different enough that you need to use magic in order to defeat the enemies, because I find them a little bit harder than the first game. And on top of that too, it's enough of the same where it's very familiar. and very excited. That's what I will say for when it drops on early access. Where the moment it's on early access, I am buying the game for sure. Hades 2 is will be a very successful successor to Hades 1.
Okay.
I still haven't beaten the first one.
Well, it's
I
kind of
haven't
hard
either.
to beat those
Yeah,
games.
yeah, true.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I have
okay.
it on Switch and PC. I bought it twice. Still haven't beaten.
I love it. I love that you
I have
did
it
that.
too. I
I
have it
love.
on, but I only ever played it on my PC.
Okay.
I never really played it on Switch, but I have it on Switch.
Yeah, it ran well.
Which version did you guys buy first?
PC.
Yeah. I was on the. I've been on early access for Hades. I have hundreds of hours in early access.
Because I'm just seeing both of you making that decision where you're like, all right, I'm going to play
Yep.
more. I'm going to put it on the Switch so I could play it before bed. That type of thing.
was
You know,
my thought
we all
process.
make that
Yeah.
call.
Because I call
Yeah.
maybe I'll actually play it more if it's handheld. No,
It just runs so good on computer too.
it does.
It's
Mm.
very responsive. But then you guys can go ahead and do your games before.
Okay, so Helldivers 2 got Stellar Bladed. I didn't play it a whole lot. Just because I got them both. Helldivers came from GameFly for me on Friday. So like I did like the intro and I messed around a little bit and then I went to Stellar Blade. I haven't like played with anybody like friends list or anything like that. Which I think would make it more fun, but from what I've played so far, it seems good. I don't know. I can't like make like a full assumption until I like really get into it. But I made the decision to like set that aside so I could play Stellar Blade because I'm trying to focus on one thing at a time so I don't pull a Craig over here.
Me, yeah,
both of you, and just have like
both
15
of us, yeah.
games going at once.
Yeah, it never works out.
No, so I'm really
It
trying to
doesn't.
like, all right, this is what I did with Final Fantasy. I'm like, okay, so Stellar Blade's a game I'm playing. I don't even know how long Stellar Blade is. It can't be that long.
I hear it's if you focus on main story, it's only 20 to 22 hours.
So that's not terrible. So I think once I get done with that, then I'll jump back into Helldivers. But what I've seen so far, I enjoy. It seems fun. It definitely seems more fun with people you know. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely a party game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you laugh like 50% of the time you're playing it. You know.
That's fair. So another Crab's Treasure. This is one that I'm also enjoying. I'm trying to juggle. I have it on my Xbox, so like Stellar Blade's upstairs on the PS5s. Another Crab's Treasure is down here on the Xbox. It is on Game Pass. It is a Souls game where you are a hermit crab, so it's very cartoony, childish, but very difficult, and you get different shells, which are your armor. I think it's a hilarious game, and it's actually very fun. Everything you would get in a Souls game, parrying, deflecting, bonfires, all that stuff's here. I think it's done extremely well, and they know what they're doing, and it's like it looks cute, but at the same time, if you're not paying attention, it's just going to kill you real quick. Which is a Souls game. I think it's great, so I think everybody should be checking that game out, especially since it's on Game Pass. I believe it's on every console as well, from what I've seen. But definitely check that one out if you can.
Is it like Tunic, but it's taking itself less seriously and it's more funny? Is it kind of like that challenging? Because Tunic had the same Souls-like vibe, but it's a heck of a lot more serious.
I mean, it's more of a Souls game than Tunic was. So like, whereas Tunic was kind of like the top down, this is like Souls, like third person, or Elden Ring, if you will, slightly open areas that I would call open world. But yeah, I think it's just done extremely well. I did not hear a single thing about this game. I don't know where it came from, but I'm glad I saw it and I was like, oh, I should try that. But again, like I said, sticking to one game at a time, trying to.
All right, I'll go through mine briefly. Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. I originally played I played the Kickstarter funded Eiyuden Chronicles Rising, which came out 2 years ago, so I thought I would just follow suit and play it on Game Pass. It's a classic RPG. What they did differently from the original is they just just forced in like 4 million characters. I'm about 2 hours in, so I didn't really. I mean, I got Stellar Bladed 2 as well, so I didn't really put a lot of time into it. What I can say about it is the game looks beautiful. It has the classic RPG style that you would expect. Heroes come together to. It's essentially two warring nations that kind of builds off the nations that were discussed in the first Chronicles Rising game. But now things are a lot more dire in the world. I won't spoil you with the details, but essentially, I liked the one thing that I can really talk about is the gameplay. I mean, it has the classic RPG style, turn based. One thing that I think might slow down the combat for people who want to play it for a long time is like you start out with 6 heroes out the gate. It's telling you that there's just going to be a bunch of heroes that you're going to be using at a time in your party and in battle. And you select each person's um either attack, magic. You select all 6. So the order of the enemies and your party and how they're going to act is at the top of the screen, and you have to select all 6 of your party's motions, and then it just plays out. I like the idea kind of that, but as I was fighting and doing more like battles that weren't hard, I found myself just like mashing A and just doing. I was like, everybody's going to attack because I have 6 people and I'm fighting 3. It's mathematics,
You
you know?
outnumber 'em.
So that's the one thing that I think outside of boss battles might slow down the pacing of the game, but it looks very colorful. The way the characters are situated on the screen in the battles are pretty cool. You have the front row and back row, things that like Final Fantasy Tactics would do in other games. And the people in the back row were actually situated on different terrains that made it cool, because you had 4 heroes on the ground and you had your 2 mages. I think one's a mage, one was a ranger. They were kind of higher, and it made the camera angle, the way it was situated, look very cool looking at your party attacking. So that's just a small thing they do that's pretty cool. But I recommend playing it and just giving it a whirl, especially if you like the classic RPG, JRPG style. So, and then we're going to do the spoiler cast at some point, but Rebirth, um, if you are in chapter 9 or 10, no, I'm going to start with 10. If you're in chapter 10 or 11, put down the side quests and beat the freaking game, please. Because I was glued to my screen in the final chapters. I think they sent it off really well. There were specific moments that happened that were recreated, and I got that touching feeling. The last time that I applauded at the end of a game was Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
And I clapped by myself
I can see you
with a
doing it
sleeping
too.
cat right next to me. I clapped by myself during those credits. I did. Didn't shed a tear. Sometimes a game will do that. I didn't shed a tear or like just from like the character engagement or anything, but I did applaud, and it takes something for a 35-year-old to applaud in his own home by himself.
Fair.
So it's a wonderful game. I encourage you. I know that we've been making fun of all of us for taking a while with this game. I guess minus Craig, just us two, Barry and me. If you hit a side quest,
I have like medical issues, so I think I'm voided.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, if you hit a side quest, I don't know, gap or wall's the
It's
word I'm
wall
looking
for
for.
sure.
Stop them. You can do them all at the end after the game's done. Just beat the game.
Yep.
Beat the game. It's the last couple of chapters are extremely worth it.
Except for maybe the proto relic stuff. Like,
oh yeah,
do the proto stuff, because I think that's cool.
I finished that, and I did do your tactic, Craig. For that guy, yeah, I did. I tried multiple times, and I was like, you know what? I hate him. I'm doing this, and then I got him. So
yeah, for sure.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Craig. All right. So Stellar Blade review from all 3 of us. Who would like to start?
I feel like you guys are further than me.
I really want to use that. I wish we could like post gifts, because I want to do that. I mean, it's all right. I want to use that gift so bad.
Barry, I think out of the three of us, even though I was tremendously excited for the game, I think your excitement outweighed me just a tad. So
Go
I think
for
you
it.
should
Okay.
start.
All right. I am probably the most hours into it. The amount of hours I've spent in it alone today should not be
I think I
mentioned
have
or talked
2.
about.
How many do you have?
2?
I think I have 2 hours. Yeah.
I'm 16 hours
Oh yeah,
into it.
you've been rolling. I didn't play it much.
Craig.
Okay.
Okay. I'm like 8,
Okay.
Yeah, you're
maybe.
definitely farther than me.
Okay, so Stellar Blade. Now, what I will go through and say is and the people listening to us have already read the reviews. They're just trying to figure out what we like about it. The combat is as good as everyone says it is. It is addictive. It is fun. Blocking seems a little like iffy sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit more forgiving than Sekiro, where Sekiro, if I blocked too early and tried to re-guard, it wasn't gonna work. But in this one, you can block too early and then like re-guard real quick and still get and still technically guard and parry the enemy's attack. So I think it has that going fit for it. So like, it's weird to say that the timing's off, but it's still more forgiving than
Yeah.
Sekiro. But overall, like, the game is gorgeous. It's not just the character, that's a very pretty female character. The set pieces, the boss battles are all very fun and very pretty to look at.
Hmm.
The the environment is very near, the music is very near, it's funny, everything that the internet says is like Eve, the main character, Stellar Blade, is kind of like now the trio of female gaming protagonists with Bayonetta and B2
Yeah.
as the action RPG ones. The the story, I am paying attention to the main story. I am skipping a lot of the side like content dialogue. uh just give me more of the SP, let me fight more of the optional boss battles. But this game, it switches genres a lot like Nier does. There is a portion where it is a survival horror game, and
I was gonna say Dead
it,
Space. It's just Dead
it is
Space. Like it at
genuinely
one
like
part.
good. That portion of the game is genuinely fun to play, and it's different. And whatever other portions of the game there are, we have to see. That looks like there's a Sonic on rails section that I still have to get to. But I am really enjoying my time with this game. Um, the combat is by far the most fun portion about it, and definitely the stellar part of the game.
That's fair.
Yes.
Do you Okay, so something that I found, like, you can kill an enemy, right? Like your normal and strong attacks. But do
Yeah,
you guys find yourself like I do, where I'm like, I could kill this enemy, but I'd rather parry to get rid of all his diamonds so I get a cool kill? Like,
sometimes,
I
yeah.
do that all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, I could just kill you normally, but it looks cooler if I do it this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely not a button
No.
mashing game. It's not like the fun part of the combat is the
Yeah.
parrying and the blink
Yeah.
and all of those movements that you can do.
The other thing, and I don't know if this is weird to you guys or not, but I found it a little weird. I'm getting used to it now, but the fact that she's an android, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She is an android who is Asian, but she has a British accent. Why?
That is correct.
Why?
I guess because in an Android you could probably put any accent you wanted into
You
it, so you could make them look
you could.
anyway, and then upload a voice module that makes them British. It's
Yeah.
it's it's kind of the, I will say, Xenoblade Chronicles isn't as like terrible with this, but it is weird for like a Japanese game.
Yeah.
Everyone is British in the
It's just
Xenoblade
an
Chronicles
interesting
games.
choice. I don't hate it. It was
Mhm.
just like at first, like, this is an weird thing to do, but it's fine. I don't hate the game at all. It's better than I thought it was going to be. I'll put it that way. I'm enjoying the boss battles that I've seen so far. It
And
does
they only
seem
get better. They only get better.
like it's a more of a linear experience, which I enjoy more so than like an Elden Ring open world, right?
Once you get
The
farther,
submaps.
yeah, there is portions
Yeah.
of it where it is linear and portions
Yeah.
of it where it is more open.
That's fair.
That open part, I've spent all 16 hours today in.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's oof, man, it is a lot. But I'm also trying to do a lot of the side stuff as well.
Is it like end of God of War open world type? Okay.
Not that
All
bad.
right, fair.
I mean, I feel like you could put a lot of hours into it, like Barry has, and I've started to because that's where I'm at, Barry too. Well, that's what I was doing a lot. Um, but I don't know, like the so like I'm with you, Barry. The side missions, I've been ignoring the reason why I'm going out, but I've been having fun
Yeah.
doing the side mission, and it's because of the combat and the way they kind of stick and place enemies in certain areas in that open world that Barry's talking about. There's definitely a lot of enemies that are hidden, so you're kind of just in certain areas on your toes because you don't know. They introduce a bunch of new types. I hope they keep doing that throughout the game so it doesn't get stale. But the boss battles are incredible. How you can customize Eve, I'm enjoying at the moment. But I found on the skill tree, I was like, am I going through the skill tree really quickly? I know I have two like areas that still need to be unlocked. But while I was playing the game normally and not, sitting in one area just farming, I found I was going through the skill tree pretty quickly. But that's just me being
No,
paranoid.
yeah,
So
I'm in very much of that area as well, and it is I am very much like almost done with the skill tree that I have. I think I only have a couple more abilities to unlock,
Okay.
but I'm gonna do this, or I'm saying it now, and then the moment I finish the next section, they're gonna show me the next new thing that I get.
I did the one review I was watching did bring that up and say that they're very generous with the skill points, which is good. Like I feel like everything I've picked so far has been useful.
and here's the thing too. The game is
Mhm.
hard. And there have been multiple times they're a little bit generous in the open area with oh my god. So I forget what they're called right at the moment, but save points, campsites,
Yeah.
or whatever they're called. They're pretty generous in the open world, but like in the linear city section, especially because you don't have a lot set up for your for Eve, I was like, maybe I should not fight this last enemy because I think I see a camp behind them,
Okay.
kind of thing,
Like a Demon Souls type thing.
So exactly. So there have been multiple times where I'm like, man, I really should find my way back or do whatever. So I do enjoy the difficulty of the game as well. I have it on normal, so it's nothing
Mhm.
crazy. But
That's fair. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I don't foresee a reason why I would not finish this game. Right.
especially because it's
Mhm.
shorter, it seems
I
like
don't
from
know
the
that
reports that I'm
I'll
seeing.
do New Game Plus, but who knows? Maybe I will. Just not right now because there's a million other games.
Yeah, there's a million other games, but for a first time AAA like studio making their first like big open world game, kudos to them.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
game has I think met expectations and surpassed most people's expectations of this game.
Yeah.
I will not
yeah.
be surprised if it is available to Sony, like they will try and buy this developer most likely. Um, but we'll see. Like it's one of those things. I really yes, I was excited for this game, but it's the combat is so much more fun than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is.
They did a
It
good
really
job.
is.
Is there anything else? Any other stellar things we want to mention about Stellar Blade?
Are you gonna finish Stellar Blade before you finish Final Fantasy?
Yeah,
Oh, that's the
yeah.
yeah.
It's
Yep.
shorter. I'm at the point now where I can probably finish Stellar Blade before I would finish like FF7 if I started them at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
kind of deal there. So
Sounds like you're
it,
almost done then.
I don't know how far I am. Like he mentioned that it's 22
Yeah.
hours like without it, but I've been doing a lot of the side quests where I hear it starts to get more toward 30 to 40
Okay.
with the side quests.
I'm gonna
Nice.
see Time to Beat.
Well, I mean, Final Fantasy Rebirth clocked in at me for 95 hours, so I'm definitely welcoming this game, especially because it's more action oriented. I actually kind of like that the story is not as in depth as, because Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload, and Rebirth have been so story heavy. It's actually kind of nice having, I don't really want to diss this developer, so I don't want to say blander story, but like simpler story is, you know what I mean? I love it,
So
actually. So
this says completing the main story is between 12 to 15 hours.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be.
I guess I read the wrong version.
You have to be near the end.
I haven't even found my second alpha or Elder Nativa or Alpha Nativa. So we'll see what happens. I imagine I'm getting to the second one here soon.
Mhm.
But just like in general, the like portions of the game like are very much fun. I can see where the side questing thing gets a little bit annoying because it's a lot of them, and a lot of it is going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between certain areas. I'm now trying to do the side quests in Eido 7, the area where you first start the game at, and that's more linear without a map, so I'm not sure how easy this is going to be. This will probably like really teeter how I feel about the game depending on how easy like it is to go back and forth between all of this.
Here's what I think is going to happen, Barry. Maybe at some point, it might for me, it may not for you, but I think I'm going to stop bulletin board requests and then do only like exclamation point people in town requests. I think at some point, if it gets too crazy,
Some of the stuff like saving the singing bot is actually kind of cool. There's a lot of fun stuff with that. I've weirdly grown attached to Kaya, as she's like just this girl trying to run her daughter's shop, and she's very much like a young girl. Played, I guess because the voice actor plays her very well. Is probably why I'm a little attached to this infant girl. But just want to help her out, man. I just want to help her out with her store.
Yeah, she's running her family shop, and she needs help.
I gotta help her.
Yeah, that's all I have on Stellar.
Stellar Blade. I'm interested to see how Craig, like, if you get, to like a 8-hour, 10-hour mark, let us know how you feel then.
Yeah.
Because
it'll make or break when I get to the open world for me, for sure. You know what I mean? I'm either going to buy in like I did with Rebirth, and I'm going to do every side quest, or I'm going to be like, nah, I'm just sticking to the story. You know,
it does make it easy when there's a lot of fast travel points in the area, so it's nothing too far away.
Okay.
From a mission that you need to go through. A lot of it is just like enemies do follow you a pretty decent way, to be fair. So when you're trying to run around and complete side quests, some enemies will follow you for a little while, and you can't pick things up when you're in combat. So it's one of those things where, okay, who followed me? Now I gotta kill it and then collect my thing and then run all the way back. Sort of deal there.
Oh yeah, last thing I'll say, Hub City. I understand that it's like, humanity's on its like last thousands, hundreds of thousands or whatever of people, but it is a little desolate, but you like understand it. So I'm not too annoyed with that. But like when I finally got to the Hub City, I was like, oh, this is great. And then I was like, they even say it in the game, ooh, where are the people? It's just like, but I understand.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the worst thing. It's not the worst thing.
Yeah, it's hard not to draw comparisons to Nier because there is a legitimate. If you guys played Nier Replicant and know Kaine, her hairstyle is literally in the game. Yeah. There are definitely a lot of throwbacks and callbacks to Nier, in which you can take that with what you will. Like my character, at one point, and I'm going to call this right now, there will be a bought DLC skin that you can put on Eve to look like 2B or Kaine.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. 120%. That is what they will be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to buy it.
No, and I'm going to buy it.
I
mean, it's all right.
But we'll get into TV shows now. The other stellar part of this podcast, quote unquote. Finished Fallout and started Avatar. The Last Airbender on Netflix.
Like the anime?
Okay.
No, the live action.
The live action. Okay. I'm still working through Fallout. I'm almost done. Craig, I took your advice, and I am about 9 episodes into the first season of The Circle. Um, started watching that.
I'm so proud.
But there's one I watched a couple movies this week, but none of them are really worth talking about. And since I'm watching so many movies, if they're not like terrible or great, I just don't mention them. So keep that in mind. There's one movie I'm going to talk about this week, and it is Monkey Man.
Okay. I took both of your guys' advice and I started X-Men 97. I'm aware that I think the last episode airs on like May 15th or something, so I can like kind of catch up. I have just initial thoughts, nothing crazy. I mean, the whole childhood bring back thing. And then I started this TV series called From that I can talk about as well. That's what I got.
Sure.
I'll talk about both of mine just real quick because they've both been out for a little bit. Craig finished the Fallout TV series. It only gets better as we go on.
I just like that it gets creepier and creepier as it goes on.
Yeah, and the finale is dang good. It is.
Okay.
It is a well thought out finale that does a lot of things right. I was surprised with how glued I was to the TV at the finale because the show's good, but I wasn't understanding all of the hype it got. That finale is a fantastic finale in a lot of ways, so I think you'll end up liking it too. And then with Avatar, I was really hesitant to start this series because it is a Netflix attempting to adapt another animated into live action, something we kind of really don't need all this of. But surprisingly, the CGI looks really good. That opening scene with the earthbending and firebenders it's well done. And all I could do was kind of go, okay, like this looks fantastic. And I think because the CGI doesn't look as cheesy, water bending does look a little weird, but that's to be expected. You're moving physical matter of water, and other than that, like I've been kind of into the series. Surprisingly, I wasn't expecting to be as well into this, but I'm trying to gear up my Netflix watching so that I can start watching Rebel Moon and Part 2 as well. I know Part 2 came out, and that's kind of the next portion here.
Chalk that up to the movies I don't talk about.
Part 2 and Part 1?
Okay.
Yeah,
both.
All right, maybe I don't need to watch them. Maybe I'll spend my time on other stuff then.
Oh, they're forgettable for sure. Okay. The Circle, just real quick. I do enjoy it. If you can remember back to season 1, Craig, I know it's probably been a little bit for you. I think what I enjoy the most is they do a real good job of editing people when the game first starts and then changing your opinions on them, right? Like for me, since I'm only on the first season, like Joey is edited as like the stereotypical Jersey Shore dude, but as it goes along, you're like, oh, I actually like this guy. You know what I mean? Like he's genuine, that kind of stuff. And just like you, like I'm a sucker for like reality competition television shows, and this one's just so different. Like I watched the first episode forever ago, and I just fell off because I was like, this is dumb. They're just sitting in apartments, voice to chat texting each other, and it's super awkward, and I wasn't feeling it. But as it goes on and they're playing different games, then I was more into it. The only thing I could do less of is them constantly bringing in new people. I'm like,
I know they do that all. Yeah.
Every episode's like, here's another one. Oh wait, here's 2 more. Here's another one.
Yeah, they show the suitcases being pulled, and they're just like...
But I do enjoy it. Like I very much so. I think it's good. Barry, you're having serious issues with your camera.
You are.
It's just going blurry.
It keeps going blurry, and I can't figure out what's going on here. This is continue while I this will be something for the video listeners as I fidget with my camera trying to figure it out.
Okay. And then the movie that I'm going to talk about this week. Okay. So, Monkey Man. We got to talk about Monkey Man. Directed by and starring in Dev Patel. Everybody here knows Dev Patel. I know him from way back Slumdog Millionaire days. Barry knows him from The Green Knight.
Yep. Weird movie. Still one of the weirdest I've ever watched.
Yes. Okay. So Monkey Man, first and foremost, when this movie comes out on physical media, go buy it on 4K, put it on your TV, and just crank up the volume and just annoy the hell out of your neighbors. It's got like the sound in this movie is incredible. I would liken it to a John Wick, but a little bit slower. Um, you get a little bit of it at the beginning, and then you get like he wasn't trained / he wasn't strong enough, so he goes and he has to train. You know, like the '80s training montages, like
Yeah.
those. And then he's gonna
The Rockies and all that.
Yep, he's gonna come back, and but what it sets up for in that end like 20-25 minutes is incredible. The choreography is great, the camera work is great, the music is incredible, and the story is really really good. I was super interested in this movie when I saw the trailer because I was like, man, that looks like John Wick. I still think John Wick is a better movie, but man, this movie slaps, man. It really does. Like, I'm buying this on 4K the day it comes out. I'm probably gonna watch it like a couple times a year. It's just a good time, man. It's so good. I want to watch it again. Just want to watch it one more time.
That movie. That movie intrigued me, man. I know which one you're talking.
Yeah.
It was a heck of a trailer. I remember that came
Man,
out.
it's so good. Love it. We need more movies like that. Like just that straight. I think John Wick has helped, right? To get that like over the top action movie that we used to get all the time in the 90s and the 2000s. But now you can actually put decent stories behind them, unlike back in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, I just watched Kindergarten Cop the other day again because I love that movie. But yeah, Monkey Man, go watch that as soon as you can. As soon.
Nice.
I'll have to get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna keep
you don't
my
give
eye on
movies like that raving reviews too often.
No, I really don't.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to keep that in the foresights. So X-Men '97, you gentlemen have done a great job already talking about it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time mirroring what you guys say, but holy cow, it's fantastic. I love the updated aspect of it and kind of where it started as well. Just even small things like in the opening and how there's just a couple of added scenes. Like I noticed the opening theme's difference in where the musical numbers were landing versus where the visuals were because of the small things that they added. I mean, I just watched the crap out of that as a kid. Good old fashioned X-Men Sentinel specific story arc, which is like it's really part of the best X-Men aspect because that's where you have the tension of humans versus mutants, I think, examined the most. And then that's where you get X-Force, which it was great to see like Bishop and all that in there, like in the beginning. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just I'm an episode or two in, maybe like episode and a half, and I think they really do it justice. Anything that Jennifer Hale is in, my gosh, like it's she's doing great as Jean Grey. I know this podcast is a huge
Dude,
Jennifer Hale fan
evil
in
Jean
general.
Grey, she activated something in a lot of people that day.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta love. I mean, anything with the Phoenix arc as well. Like she's a great character in general. And like anytime you start your X-Men journey and you get Jean Grey before Phoenix, you're thinking while you're watching, like, she's kind of powerful. She's like really, really powerful. I really kind of hope she stays good. Oh my God. Like, it's just I don't know. But I like some of the small changes. Magneto's look is great for some reason. It's like a shaggy Nito. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. There's just a lot of small
Magneto
things
looks
that
like
I
he should
could
be
poke
playing
out. I can't wait to
hockey.
really dive.
Yeah,
He's got
kind
a
of.
flow.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He does.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's those kind of things that are cool. They're taking creative freedoms that I enjoy, and I'm sure both of you guys have already been singing its praises. So that's my take on my maiden voyage, or the beginning portion of my watching with X-Men '97. From's a TV series. It has the third season. Well, sorry, it has two seasons that have completed. The last season in 2023, and then it's renewed for a third season in 2024. I got recommended by a friend to watch this. What initially made me want to watch it actor wise is Harold I don't know how to say it, but Peruno. He's the gentleman who was Link in the Matrix series. I like that actor. But the premise is what basically sold it for me. So essentially, you got a family, like a classic nuclear family. You got a mother and father, 2 kids. They're going on a road trip. They're driving out in the woods. They see a couple of weird phenomena while they're driving out. They see a bunch of crows on the top of a tree, like a murder of crows, but like way more murder. Like, it's just like a lot of them. And a tree is like stopping them in the road. So they decide to turn around in their camper. They approach this town that's kind of dilapidated, and it's got like some people in there. They're doing like a funeral, and they don't know it yet, but this town is very specific. So they ask to go back to the road. Like, can you show us the road? The townspeople are creepy. They send them back out to the road, and then they drive down a straight road, and they keep going back to the town. They don't make any turns, and they're like trying to figure out why they can't leave this town. So eventually, the townspeople who are attuned to why they can't leave this town stop them and help them, and into what this whole series is about. And essentially, what it is there's a bunch of people who the same thing happened to them. Everybody sees the crows. Everybody has the tree that stops them in the road, and they have to turn around. They're stuck in this town. They can't leave. And at night, they essentially are hunted by a vampiric group of enemies that toy with them, torture them, kill them. I haven't seen blood sucking yet, I don't think. But they're like vampiric zombie like kind of thing where they're never in the day unless there's a area that's like underground or cave like. But at night they hunt and kill these townspeople. And the only thing that saves these townspeople are these runes that they keep on their door. The reason why I say vampiric is because that they can't enter your house unless that rune is not there, or if the rune is there, you have to invite them in, which is a common theme in vampire lore, Dracula lore, vampire lore. It's like you have to invite them in. That's where the whole let the right one in, let me in comes in as well. So it's pretty cool. And I think the combination, because it's from the creators of Lost, so you get the Lost effect, except you don't get a smoke monster. You get kind of like visual monsters that you already can see that are killing people. And I'm a big fan of like don't go out at night because something's out there. Like I'm a big fan of that kind of added element in media and movies and whatever. So I recommend a watch. It's that combination. You get I Can't Leave because it's Lost creators, but you also get if you're a fan of any vampire type of thing that's killing people as well. So obviously the town and the people in it, they go through normal human things where there's 2 sides. One side believes they should be more free, the other side believes they should be more structured. When you go in the town, you could choose which one you want to be a part of. There's like a house that has like a bunch of hippie type people that live free, and they're run by one lady. And then there's like a townsperson that's run by a sheriff, who is that Harold gentleman, the actor that I mentioned that propelled me more into wanting to watch it. So I recommend it. It's first and second season are on Prime, and third season I think you have to wait. Or no, sorry, first season is on Prime. Second season you have to go through MGM
Okay.
Plus, I think, to watch.
Interesting.
But anyway, sorry, that was a long rant, but it's an interesting show. It's called From.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else anybody wants to go over this podcast?
Go watch the Deadpool Wolverine trailer if you haven't.
That one was pretty good.
Oh my god.
That's it.
I saw that they did like a fight reminiscent to like Spider-Man 1 in how Peter and what's his name, Blaze or something like that, fight each other. I thought it was really cool that like that kind of throwback threw me off big time.
It's gonna be great.
I just like seeing Wolverine. I like seeing Wolverine in the yellow, the classic yellow. That's a huge thing.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and thank everybody for watching. Please make sure if you're listening to leave a like, leave a review, and share it with a friend on your podcast listening platform of choice. It helps us get recommended to more people, and I appreciate the support. If you are watching us on YouTube, please make sure to like and subscribe and tell us how we're a bunch of pansies for the whole Steller Blade thing and how there's actual how it's actually bad. I actually don't want that. If I see woke or something like that, I'm just gonna ban your comment from the YouTube page. So just keep that in mind. We appreciate everybody who watches us from episode 1 to episode 205 here, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.